And welcome to the Bulloch Sports Report. I'm Josh Aubrey. Plenty to get to in this week's show. The Georgia Southern Eagles looking to lick their wounds and rebound from a very embarrassing and tough loss on the road to open the season at Fresno State, in which they led 14-13 at the half and then were outscored 29-0 in the second half as they lost 42-14. We had a chance to talk with Eagle head coach Clay Helton and a few of the players about what went wrong this past Saturday and what they plan to rectify as they get ready for a big contest with USC, homecoming of sorts for Georgia Southern head coach Clay Helton as he returns to the Memorial Coliseum where he got his first head coaching job less than 10 years ago. All right, as for the area high schools, we've got the Statesboro Blue Devils opening up region play. They're coming off a bye week. 2 weeks ago, they lost to Veterans. This week, they'll be hosting Greenbrier. We had a chance to talk with head coach Matt Dobson and some players. We'll hear from them in just a bit. As for the Southeast Bulloch Yellow Jackets, they're going to go from playing one of the worst teams in the state to one of the best, as last week they handed Islands their 36th straight loss as they won 41-7. Coming up this Friday, they'll be hosting number 5 ranked Calvary Day. We'll hear from Jared Zito and some of his players. As for the Bulloch Academy Gators, a Thursday night matchup against Robert Toombs on the road. We'll hear from Aaron Phillips and a couple of his players. And the Portal Panthers will open up region play coming up this Friday night, coming off a win against Twiggs, as they'll be on the road at Jenkins County. All that and more coming up on the Bulloch Sports Report. And a reminder before we go to break, hopefully you'll never be in an accident, but if so, please give our friends at the Sullivan Law Firm a call, 912-489-8888, or online at thesullivanlawfirm.com. This segment of the Bulloch Sports Report is brought to you in part by Girard Pre-Owned Vehicles, quality cars, trucks, and SUVs right here in Statesboro, Georgia. Voted best place to buy 10 years running. 2330 Northside Drive West. Well, plenty of the talk this week entering the USC game should have been about the homecoming for Georgia Southern head coach Clay Helton as he returns to the first place that hired him as a head coach, and being in the Memorial Coliseum taking on USC. Instead, most of Eagle Nation is still depressed and head scratching about what happened in week 1 as they got trounced, especially there in the second half by Fresno State. We had a chance to talk with Georgia Southern head coach Clay Helton about the mistakes made in the season opener, particularly in the second half where they were outscored 29-0, and how they plan to fix things as they get ready for a tall task with USC.
We did the things that we needed to do in the first half, being able to create turnovers, be able to have in the third down efficiency that you needed to be able to sustain drives, and found a way to be up at halftime 14-13. Unfortunately, did not get that done in the second half and lost the battle of field position, lost the battle of third downs, going 0 for 5 on third downs offensively in the second half. While, overall in the game, I thought Fresno State did a really nice job of 6 of 10 for the game, sustaining drives, and especially in the second half.
Tackling looked pretty bad, especially in the second half. It didn't look like they were wrapping up. What do you think is fixable, and what's your assessment Saturday from a defensive standpoint?
One was our alignment. We had some alignment busts with that run game. We had some missed assignments that cost us, and then we put ourselves in positions to make plays, and like you said, we missed tackles. That created those 3rd and 1 to 5s that allowed them to go 6 for 10 and sustain drives. Fortunately, in the first half, we were able to find ways to get the ball. We created the 3 turnovers that were huge for us in being able to sustain that lead. Unfortunately, we did not do that in the second half. But I think what is fixable is being able to line up correctly, being able to do our assignment on a consistent basis. And then when we're in that one-on-one tackling position, which, we had about a half dozen times that the ball could have been downed right there and we missed the tackle. Those are the things that have got to get corrected from week week 1 to week 2, so we can produce some third and long situations rather than those third and manageable.
What do you feel like you have to do on offense differently? I know you want to get away from the third and longs, but you also have a lot of weapons you talked about, trying to stretch the field. Is that something you can do early on in the down?
Yeah, Josh, good question, man. I thought with the top two backs, one averaged 5 yards a carry, the other averaged 4.6 a carry in that game. When you look back at the second half, we threw the ball on some early downs and didn't hook up, and it created 2nd and 10. I thought overall JC's performance going 17 and 27, he protected the ball well. We went 3 turnovers to only 1 turnover, and really you look at his interceptions, bad fortune for him. He really threw the ball where it was supposed to go. It was a bang play. I thought there could have been a pass interference on that. The referee did not feel that way, but it bounces off the hands of a receiver and it goes to the next guy. He went to the right place with the ball. Could have been a little bit more accurate on some of the early downs in the second half. I know there's a couple that he would have loved to have back, but his overall maturity of that game and his poise in that game was so much different, Josh, than this time of year last year. You could see it in his eyes. You could see it in his demeanor all the way through. And I thought it was some really positive moments in that game, especially, with some of the down the field throws, hooking up with Dan LeCobb down the boundary, the situation of being able to see one of the few man-on-man opportunities that we got in the game with Cam Brown, being able to motion over, create a stack, and caused a little bit of confusion between the two DBs. He recognized that and made a good hit. If there's one area of growth for us, whether it's in the run game of continue to average with those two backs 4.5, 5 yards a carry, or whether it's hooking up on early downs on some of our quick game stuff, we need to do a better job. Didn't hit any of our specials. We've always had a good mix of creating some special plays, and we didn't hit on those. They actually created some negative yardage plays for us that got us behind, and then the other having 2 penalties that set us back also. It's just one of those nights where you looked up and 2nd and long, it seemed like the entire second half. So where can we get better is your question. It's the efficiency on first down, just being real with you. Get the unbelievable opportunity to walk into one of the great places of history, to Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, and play a really, really good USC football team.
Well, as for the Georgia Southern players, they're taking a lot of the responsibility for the loss to Fresno, and they feel like they can turn things around against USC. We had a chance to talk with Eagle quarterback J.C. French, as well as Eagle linebacker Brandon Tyson, about last week and this week's matchup with USC.
Yeah, I think us not being efficient on first down really hindered our play, and also being a 3rd and long all night. It's tough being a 3rd and long, especially with the defense like Fresno. They like to do all that walk up and drop out stuff. It's tough as a play caller, it's tough as a quarterback, and especially an O-lineman. So being more efficient on first down, I think, will help us in the long run.
What does that look like? What do you feel like has to happen? I know it's easy to say you have to be more efficient. Was that start up front? Is that with you? Is that the running backs?
I think it just starts with execution all around. I believe it does start with me because I am the quarterback. I got to play better. I know that. And I think it just comes down to execution.
Well, I think it's just a lack of execution. We definitely had a lot of misassignments, misalignments, as Coach mentioned before, and all of that is very fixable, especially through film and throughout the week, especially after you get that first game kind of out the way.
You guys talk after the game about what happened and holding each other accountable?
Well, most definitely. Like I said, it just came down to execution. We had a really solid game plan, and especially in the first half, as you can see, that's who we are, is the first half team. Second half, I feel like we kind of just let our guard down a little bit, and you see the result of that.
And that game will kick off at Memorial Coliseum in Los Angeles, taking place at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. All right, stay with us. High school previews and highlights coming up next. Gerard Pre-Owned of Statesboro voted best place to buy a pre-owned vehicle 12 years running. 3 decades of experience in serving our community. Locally owned and operated, every vehicle undergoes rigorous multi-point inspections and thorough reconditioning. Flexible financing for all credit types, whether you're starting fresh or building credit, they've got you covered. Experience the Girard difference today. 2330 Northside Drive West in Statesboro. Well, the Statesboro Blue Devils had a bye week last week as they prepare for region play this week against another team who had a bye week last week as well. They'll be taking on Greenbrier. Last year, the Blue Devils with 5 turnovers that led to 5 Greenbrier touchdowns, so obviously cutting back on turning the ball over. A big key for this week. Head coach Matt Dobson, very excited about playing this game. We had a chance to talk with him and a couple of the Blue Devil players about the matchup coming up on Friday.
Yeah, I think just we got to play mistake-free football. You can't beat yourselves, which is certainly what I felt like with having 2 punts blocked and just some things we didn't do a very good job of ourselves, and so we got to do a better job there. But I felt like last week during our bye week, our kids responded really well, cleaned up some things, and so excited about the opportunity to start region play.
Got a few guys healthy coming up for this game that you haven't had in a little bit.
Yeah, we certainly got a couple guys back. We had a couple seniors that have been out with some minor injuries, but they're back, ready to go for region play. Last week with the bye week helped us get healed up, and we're close to full strength, which is what you want to be this time of year when you start your region. And so, more guys healthy, the better it is.
You mentioned early in the season that you wanted to get off to a good start to the season. Right now, you could very well be sitting 2-0. You've got your region opener. How important is this game to set the stage?
Yeah, I think it's huge. Just the 2 non-region games. Obviously, the win over Southeast Bulloch was great for the rivalry aspect of it. Losing it at Veterans in the last minute was tough, but ultimately those were tune-up games for what we're about to start. We got a 3-week stretch here before we get another bye week, and then there'll be a 5-week stretch at the end. And we talked to our guys about how every one of these games matters. This is what determines whether we get to keep playing in November or not. And so, we feel like those games prepared us well. Winning the Southeast Bulloch game and then losing a close one in the last minute, that prepares us for a competitive region schedule. And so our kids are excited, and definitely you want to get off and start 1-0 in the region. It puts you in a good place. It's hard to get down and lose early and then try to claw your way back for the playoffs like we tried to do last year. So definitely want to start faster. And once again, just excited for the opportunity to compete in these region games.
Last year you went to Greenbrier, had some mistakes. They ran the ball really well. I know that's a game that if you would have played it later on the season, you feel like you could have had a chance to win that one. How do you feel about them? What's the game plan on Friday?
Yeah, I mean, they're similar to last year as far as they're going to try to run the football, and then they're going to play physical defense. But we definitely have watched that game. Having a bye week last week, I've watched the game more times than I would like to from last year. And we talked to our kids today about our plan to win, and the first step in our plan to win is win the turnover battle. And we were -5 in turnovers last year, and you're not going to win any football games in this region being -5. And so that's the number one thing we're going to clean up. And then winning the rushing battle. Obviously, they ran the ball really well last year, and so really challenging our O-line and D-line and our box players, tight ends, linebackers, those guys, challenging them with we got to run the football better than we did last year, and then we got to stop the run. It starts with that's what they want to do, and so we're gonna see if our guys step up to the challenge this week, and I feel really good about the response that we've had with that.
We're here with Statesboro Blue Devil tight end receiver Davis Harrison. And Davis, tell me a little bit about how you guys are feeling. I know it was a tough loss the last time you were on the field, but you opened up region play this week. How are y'all doing?
Yes, sir. I think it kind of showed us a new world. I mean, we got to bounce back this week. Got to play hard. Got to play physical. Unlike last year, that was our main problem. We were just not physical at all. Let up a bunch of yards in the run game, and we didn't fight back at all.
What do you feel you guys have been doing well?
Working together as a team very well here recently. The Bears, we showed it. I mean, we kind of started fighting each other instead of fighting the other team, and it showed a lot, and I think we had to recover from that a lot.
What do you feel like you have to do in order to win this game with Greenbrier?
Just play how we should, and we should take care of business.
All right. Here with Statesboro defensive back Aiden Kemp. And Aiden, in the Southeast Bulloch game to open the season, you guys look really sharp. Took a little bit of a step back in Veterans game, though you did have a chance to win. How do you feel about the team right now going into the region opener?
I feel like we're motivated, to go into Greenbrier. Veteran was a game we were supposed to win, but, they just out-physicaled us pretty much.
What did you learn from that game going into this one?
Every opponent on the schedule, you got to treat them as if they're the best team on the schedule.
Last year, you lost to Greenbrier, kind of not a great way to start the season. This time around, you got them here at your place. What do you feel like you guys have to do in order to win?
Just be the more physical team. Last year, they really simply just ran it down our throat.
The Bulloch Sports Report is brought to you in part by Pope Construction, building opportunities for the future.
This is Paul Newman, owner and broker of Statesboro Real Estate. I have been in the business over 20 years and completed well over 1,000 transactions, helping buyers, sellers, and investors navigate the home buying process. One of the things that sets us apart is our tie to the university. I'm the official real estate agent of Georgia Southern Athletics. With our team of experienced brokers and agents and our online presence, we can help you navigate any deal. Along with Statesboro Real Estate, I'm the co-owner of PMG Rentals, where we manage over 1,300 properties, improving the lives of investors and tenants since 2009. Whether you're looking to rent, buy, or sell, make sure you call Paul.
Well, as for the Southeast Bulloch Yellow Jackets, they're coming off a big region opener victory over Islands 41-7 last week in Savannah. This week, a big step up in competition as they'll be hosting number 5 ranked Calvary Day. We had a chance to talk with head coach Jared Zito and a couple of the players about the matchup.
Well, the big thing, I think they trusted the scheme and trusted each other. I mean, across the board, despite whoever the opponent was, our guys did what they were coached to do for the most part, and they did it at a really high level. So that's the biggest thing I was proud of is we played really good football, and we kind of learned some things from the previous loss. And now we're not there yet. I told them this morning we're 75% there. There's room for improvement, but man, I across the board, guys trying like crazy to do what they were coached to do, which I was really excited about.
Start off the region with a victory, which is important, and the running game looked pretty well.
Right. Listen, starts up front. Offensive line, tight ends really played well. Running backs ran hard. Quarterbacks in the option game read the ball well. Pulled the football. Had a couple. Both quarterbacks had a couple carries, and so all that was exciting. That's who we are. We threw the ball a little bit. Got the ball on the perimeter to Tyrone, and we need to continue to work on that part of our game for us to be a complete offense. But overall, it was fairly clean. I think we had one holding penalty, called back one touchdown, but other than that, we were pretty clean.
You go from playing Islands to playing Calvary. Pretty big step up in competition. Your thoughts on the game Friday?
Well, obviously we know Calvary's going to bring to the table really good players that are well coached, and they're going to play hard. We talked about last week that the opponent doesn't matter. We really said the same thing again. And no disrespect to Calvary, obviously we're going to scheme them up and we got to play really hard. But what we do is what we do, and it really shouldn't change with the opponent whether we think they're the best on the schedule or not. It's going to be a huge challenge for us. I'm excited to see what we do. Last year, I really felt like we played our worst game of the season against Calvary on really both sides of the ball. I told them this morning, a loss to Statesboro in game 1 really burned. Obviously, I'd love for those lessons to be learned, that we carry over and play a much better football game against Calvary than we did last year.
What do you feel like you have to do to beat them?
Well, I think number one, last year we turned the ball over a bunch, and so we got to take care of the football. We did a good job of that Friday. That's number one. I think we got to be really good on the perimeter, both on offense and defense. Wide receivers got to block. I think their secondary is very, very good. Their offensive scheme, their quarterback is dynamic. He can run, he can throw. Got to keep him somewhat hemmed up if we can, and we got to bring pressure to him, and then we got to be really good in the secondary. They do a good job of throwing and catching the football. So the challenge, the stress points, is going to be in the secondary this week on both sides of the ball.
We're here with Southeast Bulloch right tackle Herman Marsh, and Herman coming off a big win this past week against Islands. What do you feel like you guys did better this past week than maybe against Statesboro?
I feel like we played more as a team. We played good together, and I feel like we all did what we were supposed to a little bit better. We did what we were supposed to. as simple as that. We executed the best we could. We did what we're supposed to.
Coach said there were a lot of mental mistakes in that first game against Statesboro. Do you feel like you guys fixed some of those things in this last game?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, we did. Yes, sir, we did. I feel like it might have took that loss for us to get it, but we got it now, and I feel like we'll keep improving from there.
All right, well, you go from playing Islands to going to play Calvary, the team that's won the region last year and probably picked to win it again this year. How do you guys feel going in?
We feel confident because they're a team they're a high school team just like we are. There's nothing to be afraid of about them, but they are a good team, so we got to respect that. But as I said, they're a high school team like we are.
What do you feel like you guys have to do to win this game?
We have to execute, do what we're supposed to, and trust the coaching.
Here with Southeast Bulloch running back Jaden Murphy. And Jaden, coming off a big win against the Islands, what do you feel like you guys did differently, and where did you see the improvements from the Statesboro game to Islands?
I feel like we did better on a lot of corrections, played together as a team, and a lot of corrections, like I said, played together as a team, as in helping each other with blocks, and O-line helped us did what they supposed to do, D-line did what they supposed to do as a team.
For you, you get in the end zone a couple of times. Does that feel like that kind of sparked the season for you all of a sudden?
Yeah, I feel like it sparked the season for me, but I couldn't do it without the O-line and the defense with the stops they made.
You go from playing Islands to playing the top team, the team that's picked to win the region in Calvary. Tall task. What do you feel like you guys have to do this Friday?
Play with heart, beat a Lion. We can't go out there scared, and just play with more heart.
Last time you played them, a lot of turnovers kind of hurt you. Do you feel like that's an area that you guys are doing better at? And if so, what are you trying to do?
Not as many turnovers as last year. Holding on to the ball, playing together as a team, that takes us a long way as playing together.
How much does it help you playing here at home?
Good, it helps good with the fans and cheering us on. It's just a better environment.
The Bulloch Sports Report is brought to you in part thanks to Morris Bank, the proud sponsor of our Player of the Week segment.
Hojo's Country Store is proud to support all Bulloch County and surrounding area athletics. We've been fueling up for almost 20 years, with 3 locations in Statesboro and locations in Sylvania, Wadley, and Bagsley. Hojo's Country Stores is the real MVP. And a special shout out to our Bulloch Academy Gators. Go get them.
Well, the Bulloch Academy Gators with the matchup Thursday night on the road at Robert Toombs. We had a chance to talk with Bulloch Academy head coach Aaron Phillips and a couple of players about the matchup.
We've been able to get some guys back, be able to recover from some bumps and bruises, and so we feel pretty good. We feel healthy. We got a chance to work last week and prepare for Robert Toombs for 2 days, which is a good thing just because we're coming on a short week. So, it's kind of like you're having 2 bye weeks with one game sprinkled in between them. So we feel pretty good about that. At this point of the year, it's all about injuries and how healthy you can stay. And, so we're fortunate. It is unique. I mean, like I said, 20 years of doing this, I don't know that I've ever been going into, week 3 of the year and still hadn't played a home game yet, and not. I mean, we'll go into week 4, which is homecoming for us, and that'll be our first Friday night football game.
Where do you feel like the team is continuing to make strides, and where do you feel like you'd like to see them make a little more?
Yeah, offensively, we've done a great job offensively. I mean, we're tough to defend, per just getting outmanned and outmatched. What we do is hard to defend, and so we've done a good job of holding on to the football. We've done a good job of we have 1 turnover this year, and that was through the air, and so those things are, those things are positives. We continue to get better each week. Getting rid of some of the sloppy play. I thought we did a little better against Claxton than we did against Portal with some self-inflicted penalties. But, still not perfect, not exactly where we want to be. So that's an area we want to keep working on. Defensively, I think we got better tackling. We did a good job, stopping the run for the most part with Claxton. And, so also getting a shutout it's big. That's, you take a team, they played a good Tattnall County team who played Meta real close, the week before. And they were able to put some points up against them. So for us to come out there and pitch a shutout is pretty big for our defense. But, we still got to continue to get better and get some of these young guys more reps and, always, try to win that turnover battle. I think we only have one this year. We've dropped a couple of interceptions Friday night. And, so we'd love to, make that column go up a little bit.
Robert Toombs Thursday, what do you expect out of them? What do you feel like you have to do?
For us, we got to keep them in front of us. They very multiple formation wise. They're a spread team. They want to run power. Their quarterback's an extension of their running game. One of those teams that try to spread you out, get you wide, and run underneath. We got to do a good job with our down 4, down 5 guys, taking that stuff away and just continue to work on us. Defensively they're a 3-3 stack team, and so it'll be a different defense than we've seen thus far this year. But we played it 3 or 4 times last year, so we feel pretty good, and we just got to go take care of us.
All right, we're here with Bryce Parrish. Bryce playing both on the defense and offensive line. Again, how do you feel like you guys have been doing, especially considering what you had to fill the shoes from?
I feel like we're doing pretty solid. Consistency-wise, we're starting to come together as a team. Together, the effort is there, the aggression is there, and we're starting to finally show it in the games and everything.
Came up with a big win this past week against Claxton. Now you've got Robert Toombs. How are you guys feeling going in?
We're feeling pretty confident. Obviously, there's a lot more to work on in practice, but once we can get everything together and learn what we need to do, I feel like we'll be able to do our jobs well and defeat them and keep moving on.
The Thursday night game, you guys ready for playing on a different night as you get ready for Robert Toombs on the road?
Yes, sir. Obviously, it'll be different playing on a Thursday, but as long as we can keep that mentality in our head that we just need to be aggressive and do the best that we can be, I think that no matter what day we play, we'll be able to go out there and show them who the Gators are.
All right, we're here with Bulloch Academy lineman James Lee, and James coming off another big win this past week. Tell me a little bit about how you feel the team's doing and in what areas you feel like you guys are doing well.
I feel like we're coming together really well compared to what a lot of people are saying we lost so much last year. But I feel like we're putting it all together. Even with us young guys, we're having to step up a little bit. We're having to play some varsity playing time, just get in that game. What you need to work on right now is just defense. We're a little high up top, but it's all going to come with the season as it goes along.
For you guys, you're replacing some pretty big shoes, literally. Of course, you guys can't do anything about the size as far as height. What do you feel like you guys do well on the line, though?
We're really just we put all that behind us, and if somebody's going to line up against us, they just got to know we're going to come off faster than they are. We're going to come off harder than they are, and that's just our main goal, just to hit them in the mouth faster than they can hit us.
All right, you got a game coming up here Thursday night, Robert Toombs. How are you guys feeling about this? What do you feel like you need to do to win?
Oh, I think we feel great, honestly. I don't think it's going to be a good game, but I think we just got to keep doing what we're doing, pushing that ball. It's that 4-yard after 4-yard mentality, and we'll just push it down their throats the entire night.
And once again, the Portal Panthers going to be on the road to open up region play coming up Friday night at Jenkins County. That'll wrap things up for now. We thank you for joining us. Hope to see you again next week.